The sound waves on my algorithms, penning some of the hottest lyrics on the track. Witness such a cataclysm. They say I suffer for some narcissism just because my father was a king and I'm a product of divine jism. My mind is my murder weapon, human organism destined to be great and shine bright. You can hardly miss them. The road to hell was paved with good intentions. Answers to your questions in the message, learning lessons. You need to count your blessings. I'm representing for my parents' motivation to excel in life. Indeed, the speed for acceleration. My mind murder weapon, can't concentrate. Verbalized thoughts connected for the stars' constellations. The son of a Haitian who has God conversation, so I can navigate through life and have an experience so amazing. With an emphasis to lead, you can find me trailblazing. There's no phases to concede, cause I bleed for my nation. Toussaint Louverture with the spirit of Dessalines. Massacre artistic like a Basquiat masterpiece. Autistic Asperger's, smash burgers, always hungry for the knowledge. You learn forever, doesn't stop at college or even in the dark. Cause at night the kids blaze bark in the park where the guns spark. You can't blame them cause life imitates art. Yeah.
If you want learning something new daily, homie, then you're not truly living. Always drop invisible jewelry, niggas just gotta listen. Being G was never the goal, being financially stable. While ignorant animals is what racist Caucasians label us. Needing a state bigger than Costco's. I don't get how this generation obsessed with squares like Rothko. Modern day Hannibal with the skill of the Cooning. You are what you eat, be more conscious of what you consuming. All of the 12 disciples line with an astrology sign. Divine time, everything is universally aligned. Energy never dies.
Change, change, cha-ching, change, cha-ching. What we doing? Hope you're feeling well all around. What's happening? Yeah. You know, back in the days, during the summertime, from where I'm at, I used to hear these crickets early in the season. And ever since something happened where the entire world was basically on lockdown, the crickets started coming out like in the middle to the end of August, like now, man. But I'm glad I'm hearing nature sounds. How about that? How about that? Yeah. Good stuff. You know, shout out to the good people in the world, y'all. Like, folks that are out there really trying to make things happen. Not even trying, but doing. This quick conversation is going to be about some crypto-related stuff. You know, nothing out of the ordinary. But check this out. Sometimes, like, I'm discovering that some people, you know, simply put, people don't want to see others win. While someone's doing wow. As I'm recording this outdoors, I think there's a Maybach vehicle that just pulled up. And you know why it pulled up? Because someone is using the Maybach to do Uber. How about that? In a Maybach. Doing Uber. He just came out of the car and then dropped a delivery at my neighbor's. Wow. Right. Okay. Let's get back to the topic, right? Yo, people don't want to see you and I succeed like that. Like, there's some people that really don't want to see others do well. For different reasons, I guess, right? But like, there are people, especially like with this crypto thing, is folks that are just completely malcontent, straight up and down. They allow greed, they allow the behavior of being selfish to completely consume them. Completely. To where they embody that. You're right. They're that's all they think about. That's all they're about. It's about me, and forget everybody else. And and they'll go to the greatest lengths to enact those qualities. They're gonna be greedy as much as they can. They don't care who gets hurt. You have a community that launched a contract to complement the ecosystem that they built years ago. You see, this is not just sort of like secular or isolated to just one community, because this is why I'm speaking broadly now. But it's because this is relative across the board in a certain sense. Like, when you see another community thriving, why do you hate? Why don't you congratulate, maybe even speculate? But why hate? That's internal. That's a you problem. And I'm not saying necessarily my viewers. That's a personal problem that these people have to wrestle with, that they display, they transfer, they project. It spills over onto the blockchain, onto the behaviors of these people, man. They'll try to steal whatever strategy, whatever practices, whatever even code. They will jack your code, yo, if they can. And try to, do something that you're doing, steal it, just straight up. Just so that they can dilute your whole situation. Just so they can extract everything they can from you. Just so they can divert whatever attention you have from something you've built. So they can continuously leech and draw and take. I mean, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. We've seen it. I mean, there's so many this applies to so many situations, so many communities, so many etc. All kinds of situations, man. They don't it's almost like this. This is why what I've learned so much in the last 8 years dealing with this crypto thing. It's not even a joke. I've learned a lot about myself, right? I've learned a lot about people, right? I've learned a lot is added to whatever I understood about human behavior. Oh, it's added to my understanding tenfold. Because what I've learned too is a tiger doesn't change its stripes. If you notice and realize and can identify the wicked ways, right? The sneaky, conniving, criminal ways of a person, right? You could give them a benefit of the doubt and hope that they can change. In my mind, in my understanding, we change every day by way of our physical bodies, our physical makeup. Our bodies change daily throughout the day. Forget about just every 24 hours. Throughout the day, our bodies change physically. But some people, when they show you who they are, you need to believe them, right? And it's almost hard. Sometimes it's best to forgive and forget. But sometimes when you do those things, you end up in a trick bag, because if you're not careful, you'll suffer the same consequences because you forgave and forgot about the behaviors of that damn tiger. You thought just because the tiger, right, might have been a little older that is still not ferocious. They won't tear your head off. And in this case, it won't just, you have somebody who acts like, they're cool and they're benevolent. These people in this crypto space pretend to be your friend. They pretend to want to align with everything good that you have going on. Meanwhile, deep within the recesses of who they are, the inner being, it's all about stealing, it's all about grifting, it's all about taking, it's all about scamming, it's all about extracting everything they can from you and leaving you out to dry. And when I say you, it could be one person, it could be two people, it could be an entire collective of individuals that are trying to participate in a system collectively to gain something out of life. What are you trying to gain? You're trying to gain money, right? What are you trying to gain? You're trying to find a way to, produce something that's going to help you in life. First and foremost, it's about trying to make some money. You're trying to make money work for you, right? Collectively, right? You believe in something, right? You have faith in something, right? You see something is working, right? And why can't everyone who participates benefit if this is what's afforded from, technological advances and projects that have been created and launched and protocols, etc., etc. But this is what it is. This is the thing. This is why it's hard to separate human beings from this technology, in a sense where you can separate it, sure, but don't underestimate the power. See, I could go into another tangent about AI, artificial intelligence, but I'm not gonna do that here. But what I'm saying is, if you didn't believe in any of this, if we didn't even believe in a piece of paper that we call money, if we didn't have faith, if we weren't even under duress or some type of, 100 years of programming to understand like we need money to make things go round, to make things work, these things would have no value. Because the value and the power of the value comes from us. We're the ones that lend our value to these things. But it's not respected with among certain individuals, certain rotten seeds and bad apples, and you find that everywhere, throughout. You get rid of one, another one will rear its ugly head, will present itself somewhere in some shape or form. I used to say things like, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I used to hear it, and it used to apply to me in crypto, and I try to, keep your enemies closer. And then sometimes it depends on what your mission is. Because why would you want to have an enemy close, keep enemy close? Why? Because you want to remain on top of what's going on. You want to, make sure that you 1, 2, 3, 4, how many steps ahead of your competition, right? You want to remain abreast of what the opposition is doing so you can refine your strategy, right? Continuously rebalance and reassess and play your position differently to be ready or be prepared for everything and anything, and maybe even nothing at the same time. Now, I get that. I understand the purpose of that. But at a certain point, though, it's like, when is enough enough? Or maybe it's never enough. Like, when do you just not focus on that? Because sometimes I think that just generates some form of bad energy, negative energy, right? Keeping tabs on the enemy, watching what the cabal members are doing, watching what these shady grifter, criminal pieces of garbage are doing in crypto. We all know them. We all know. We all could give examples. Those of us that have been around for years, we can give examples upon examples of who's what. But what does that do for your spirit? What does that do for your soul? What does that do for you and your physical makeup, right? Because you accepting the fact that now you accepting this toxicity, this level of toxicity into your realm, because you want to remain on top. You want to remain or well equipped or well informed. You want to watch what it is that they're doing. At some point, like a certain person has said, when he acts like, right? Like a certain person I said, ghost people who are haters, ghost people, that could be applied to him too. That could be applied to all of them too. When these people try to play these childish games, these psychological games with human beings, and think that there are no repercussions, and think that there could be no consequences. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, in a sense where some people just do things just to get you to react. That's one of the things I've learned in 2025 along the lines of just crypto, and I'm just speaking about observations that I made all around. But sometimes people just do things to get you to react. And especially on social media, because it's easy to be whoever you want to be online. And it's easy for anyone to see something and trigger somebody else. It's easy, right? Because of the whole social engineering aspect of all this. So when you understand how these things affect you and what's going on and the purpose of these things and your role in all this, now you have a set of information that you can apply accordingly, where you can possibly remove yourself from being affected by any foolishness, right? And it's hard, because it's one thing to say, no, I'm going to focus on what I'm doing and forget about what's around me, right? You take yourself, you put yourself in school and you're studying a certain discipline because you want to be an engineer, you want to study law, you want to practice medicine, right? You have to focus now, hone in. You don't have too much attention and distraction. You got to now, put your head in the sand and put your head in the books and sort of isolate yourself, because you got some training you're going through. And I get that. You don't have time to be distracted and doing things that are just not going to add to your well-being of success, because you have to now focus. You have to concentrate. You have to follow a commitment that you did for yourself and fulfill your goal. So I get that. I'm not sure if it's positive to always just keep those blinders on and be narrow focused even beyond your scope of studies, in a sense. I don't have the answers. I don't know. It's not for me to say that. In other words, like, if you say, no, I'm just going to keep my head buried in whatever I'm doing, you might be missing something that's important for you to understand that's happening outside of your purview, that could possibly add something beneficial to what you have going on, that you cut yourself from because you're now focused on just whatever you got going on. It's weird. And you might also expose yourself to something negative that distracts you and takes you away from your course. So it's a funny balanced act that we have to play with these things. But the key to all of this, and what I'm saying, is when you realize and you learned about certain individuals, after a period of time, you start to see who they are, because especially internet personalities and people who have been talking about whatever, they talked online for a certain amount of time, and myself included. I give myself away and I talk more. Like, if anybody was listening to me for these years, you understand who I am better than you did years ago when you first started hearing me.
because I just started talking. I started giving myself away on the internet, right? It's just what it is. It's what naturally occurs. And it's the same thing when a person keeps putting themselves out there, doing this and doing that and saying this and saying that. You have a better understanding of what you're dealing with over a period of time than when you first met them or you first discovered them on the internet. And when they show you that they're bad people, that they do bad things, right? At least, forget about they could hide their true intentions in a certain way, where you don't have to even say that they're necessarily all bad, but where you understand that things that they do is of absolute poor character based on their activities, based on their shady dealings. You got to be thankful that they revealed who they are to you. And it's up to you now to decide what you're going to do. Expose yourself to the foolishness or move away and do something else that's just going to just position yourself in a better way to just be free from the caca. It's hard though, man, because, sometimes you want to watch what's going on, man. Like, certain people don't deserve. You look at certain things, right? You're like, man, life is crazy. Life could be so unfair, right? Right? You got the dregs of society sometimes that do so well. And meanwhile, people who put in work, who really work hard and try to push the best of themselves forward in life to lift other people up and do well and just be all around great, they have to suffer. They suffer the hardest, right? Meanwhile, people who, the wicked of the wicked, they seem like they get breaks. All the time you find it, right? Like people that you once used to be around, they no longer here because they transitioned or passed away and moved on, right? And their lives are cut short, but they were really good, loving people, positive, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's the wicked miscreants, cretins, pieces of vile, putrid garbage that remain alive, and they seem like they live long, right? It's weird, man. I don't have the answers and how to deal with certain things, man. But what I could tell you is try to plug in and tap into the source of what makes you happy. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever you can draw from that gives you that internal joy, that's not self-destructive, right? That can just complement and add and rejuvenate, reinvigor and revive everything you have going on. Tap into that and keep close to doing things that are productive, not destructive. You know? Because you're gonna have that. You're gonna have people just gonna want to vie for your attention because they live off being the focus of attention anywhere they go. Right? Going back to what I was saying as far as the social media aspect, the social engineering. Sometimes cutting out the cancer is the best thing. Treat it like that. Treat it like that. Don't fill your mind up with certain things because that could help you deviate. Once you get, like for me, there's certain social media platforms I used to be active with, I don't anymore. You know what I'm saying? Don't need to even mention them, but I just don't. Because I know the fake aspect. I understand the fake aspect to the whole thing. People just want to show you, oh, listen, I'm on a yacht somewhere. Right? Living it up. Meanwhile, in real life, they're suffering. They're in pain. It's all lies. It's all an illusion. So why subject yourself or expose yourself to that type of energy? You understand? And it's the same thing that applies to this situation with cryptocurrency. Because why? Why is it important? Because it's all about your bread. It's all about money. Like, what are we doing? That's even more important. It's not about you looking for likes and views to make yourself feel good. You getting involved with this cryptocurrency thing, so like to limit the chances of somebody just wiping your taking everything away that you have without you having a say. Just freezing accounts, liquidating everything you working with, seizing all your assets and all that. We're trying to use cryptocurrency to work against that. That's one. And two, when you find something solid, you're blessed. And three, when you're entertaining foolishness and scammers and people who are disingenuous and foul, I mean, your work becomes even more harder. You create more obstacles for yourself by doing that. And for what? Nah, limit that. Or at best, if you have to expose yourself to some foolishness, maybe there's a reason for it, right? Because there's no one formula. I'm not even giving like information to act like I have the answer to it, because I don't. Because look, in certain instances, you could call things out. You call things out, but on the internet, some people have the attention span of a mosquito, of a flea, of an insect. Very short-sighted. It's on to the next real quick. But some of us, we have memories of elephants. We just use what we have and apply it where it's necessary and things of that nature. But in crypto, with your money, you got to respect yourself. You have to have some kind of form of self-respect, because no one else is going to have more self-respect for you than you. Like, listen, I'm just for participating in this thing going on right here, and whatever shenanigans and foolishness that some people want to bring to my circumference, I'm deading that right there. Cut off. That's it. Giving you no opportunity for none of it. And if I feel like, if a person feels like they want to respond, it's their right. They could do whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? To play the game. You want to play the game? Cool. Just, it's almost like, don't forget the purpose. Don't lose sight of the purpose, because there's always a greater purpose of what we got going on here. And these nondescript criminals, these nondescript bad actors, these nondescript nefarious individuals that suffer from their own internal plight, right, are only basically there to show us what we don't want to become. They show us signals, right? They give off energy, they give off signals and show us, oh, wait a minute, danger, red flag over there. This one is doing this. Okay, be careful, this. Sometimes they're even necessary. But they don't have to be. They could be around, but they don't have to be of your world, right? I don't know. What do I know? I'm just talking. Well, thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for listening, people. Like, share, subscribe. All that good stuff, man. Take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. Be vigilant. And always take care of yourself again. Be safe out there. Be healthy and be well.